Hello, welcome to Segal, a hot-dip galvanizing line for the automotive market. Segal is part of Indian group Tata Steel, and for us, safety is the #1 priority. You'll be working on our site, so you need to know the context in which you're working and the procedures in place to ensure your safety and that of your employees, but also to ensure respect for the environment and our facilities. To access the site, it's imperative you pass the safety test. If you're successful, you'll get your safety passport and your Segal identity card. This passport is valid for 2 years. Whenever you arrive at the site, go to the guard station with your Segal ID card. In exchange, the guard will give you your safety passport, allowing you to enter the site. Please note, you must always wear your badge visibly. If you need to enter the site with a vehicle, you will also receive a parking permit that allows you to open the site barriers. The guard will show you where you can park your vehicle. Please note, the permit must be positioned in the vehicle so it's clearly visible. At the end of the day, do not forget to check out with your badge and exchange the badge and parking permit for your Segal ID card. This protocol allows Segal always to be aware of who is on the site and, in the event of an emergency evacuation, who has not yet reached the assembly points. Let's start with safety. To avoid accidents, there's a set of rules to be understood and followed. Before working on a machine, you must have a document on you which certifies that your working environment has been made safe. This document is called the security sheet and is in yellow. At Segal, electric power is everywhere. We use lots of motors. It's therefore necessary to first turn off power to the machine on which you're working, but also all other machines and equipment that could interact with your workplace. Once the machinery is switched off, the possibility of electric shocks or unexpected starts is removed. Segal staff are responsible for preparing the list of electrical feeds to be shut down. Many machines are driven by hydraulic or pneumatic power. These energy sources should also be cut before you start work. Hydraulic lines are brown and pneumatic lines are blue. Please note, sometimes heavy moving parts can shift when the pneumatic and hydraulic power is cut. It's very important that Segal staff ensure they're secured before you start work. Segal uses many hazardous gases and chemicals. The annealing furnace is the largest consumer of natural gas, but it's also present in many other places in the plant. For easy identification, natural gas pipes are painted yellow. You can work on these pipes only if a Segal staff member has been responsible for making them safe. Nitrogen is a deadly gas that can be identified only by special detectors. You must be equipped with these detectors during work in at-risk areas. Nitrogen is used at Segal in 2 forms, either pure or mixed with hydrogen. The pipes carrying pure nitrogen are yellow with black rings. Those that carry the nitrogen-hydrogen mixture are yellow with red and black rings. Segal uses large amounts of ammonia, which produces the hydrogen we need via a process of cracking the ammonia molecule. Ammonia is very irritating and harmful if inhaled, even in small doses. Non-Segal personnel are forbidden to enter the cracker room without authorization. Similarly, working on the ammonia tank and piping requires special precautions that will be communicated to you by your Segal site foreman. We also use liquid soda for scouring the sheet steel. This chemical is very aggressive to the skin and the eyes. The storage areas of all the chemicals we use are high-risk zones. You will easily recognize them thanks to areas on the floor painted blue with an orange border. The appropriate safety precautions and personal protective equipment are described at the entrance to these areas. It is mandatory to wear them. However, it is advisable to always wear safety glasses and ear protection wherever you are on site. In case of accident, you'll find diphtherin stands on the line, a first aid solution for washing off chemical splashes. Safety showers are also available at several places along the production line and are highlighted in fluorescent green. The strip is also a source of danger. The edge is very sharp. Never go near a moving strip. The rolls are driven by high power, and there's a major risk of being trapped between two rolls or between strip and rolls. When working near the strip, safety glasses, helmets and gloves must be worn. The annealing furnace is insulated by a ceramic fiber coating. These fibers are considered carcinogenic, so it's important to wear an FPP3 mask for any work in the annealing furnace and indeed in any location where ceramic fibers are present. The bath zone is another high-risk area. There are 2 zinc pots on the Segal site. They each contain 250 tons of molten zinc at a temperature of 460 degrees Celsius. Burns can be very serious. Any work in this area requires training and suitable personal protective equipment. It's forbidden to go near the zinc pots without the presence of Segal staff. Work must sometimes be done in cavities or on pipes. This can cause explosions and/or serious accidents, asphyxiation for example. You should never start a job like this without following the measures taken during the start work procedures. You must also obtain a confined enclosure access permit issued by a specially trained and authorized Segal staff member. The fire risk is very high in the factory. This is due to flammable materials, hydraulic groups, pipes and products of all kinds. So, to reduce the risk, always use mechanical hand tools when you can, rather than welding equipment, and use a tool that does not create hot spots, such as a pipe cutter or a handsaw. You must always request a fire permit if you have to use a grinder, a welding kit, a torch or heat gun. Your Segal manager will issue your fire permit and specify the precautionary measures to be taken. For example, the establishment of flame-retardant tarpaulins and the presence of fire extinguishers on site. You must have your own tarpaulins and your own extinguishers. Segal requires one of the 2 fire extinguishers to be a foam type. If you do not have fire extinguishers, your Segal site supervisor can supply you with one. They carry a yellow fire permit mark. Please note, your fire permit is valid for only one workplace and for only one day. If you change location, or if your work has to continue until the following day, you should apply for a new fire permit. For all work with a fire permit, an overseer must actively ensure that all projections are harmless. Segal uses cranes. Some of them handle coils and others are used primarily for maintenance. Be careful, they represent a constant danger. Elements may come loose and fall at any time. Never walk under a load or crane hook. A simple rule to remember: the rule of the safety cone. For example, if the load is 3 meters above the ground, stand outside an imaginary cone whose base represents a circle with a 3-meter radius. To handle an item with a crane or a sling, you must be in possession of a crane operator and slinging license. If you don't have one, please contact your Segal manager, who'll put a crane operator at your disposal. The same applies to the use of a forklift. You need authorization. Forklifts can also cause accidents, so we've established a safety rule. Always stay more than 2 meters away from a forklift in operation. To allow you to move safely around the factory, pedestrian walkways and crossings have been defined. Hold the rail when you take the stairs. And if you have to use your mobile, stop and move to the side. Otherwise, you will not be aware of the dangers around you. A locomotive moves wagons around the halls. The highway code applies. It's mandatory for all vehicles to give way to the train. At Segal, you'll find dedicated truck loading and unloading zones. These areas are marked with red and white stripes painted on the floor. It's forbidden to be in these areas during load handling operations. If you need a scaffold, it must be installed and approved by a competent person. Qualified people have received an authorization issued by their own employer. Each scaffold must bear a signed label stating whether or not it may be used. Before mounting the scaffold, you must wear a safety harness. Once in place, attach your harness to the traverse bars to prevent falls. The same applies to any work done on a cradle. The use of one also requires a special permit. It's important that everyone tags their work site. This will prevent people taking risks as they walk across your site. To tag a site, follow these 4 rules. To begin with, you must adequately define your site. Signs must be neither too big nor too small. Use rigid barriers if necessary. Then use arrows to mark a bypass circuit. Place a sign showing the duration of the work and the person to contact in case of problems. Finally, don't forget to detag the area at the end of the work. Tooling. Your foreman is responsible for providing you with the approved equipment and tools. But it's also your responsibility not to accept work with non-compliant tools. You should also report to your supervisor any damage to the equipment with which you're supplied. Worker safety obligations. As a site worker, you have legal obligations. Use the machines correctly. Observe the safety rules. Wear personal protective equipment. Warn of any serious and imminent danger, and cooperate with other partners. Segal is environmentally certified ISO 14001. Each of our partners must also apply the basic rules of respect for the environment. Sort your waste. You'll find sorting areas along the entire line. If in doubt, ask a Segalian for help. In case of oil or liquid leakage, notify Segal staff who'll help you manage the incident. You will also find rescue stations with the necessary equipment. You should also provide a list of all products you bring to the site to your technical contact. Your contact will check whether the products may be harmful, either to human health or the environment. In all cases, the products that you bring on site must be accompanied by their MSDS card and placed on retentions to prevent leakage. It's forbidden to bring products on the site without their MSDS card having been communicated to your technical contact in advance. If your work site is clean and tidy, accident risks are significantly reduced. Segal staff will make sure that you keep it in order, so please respect the environment and make sure you do not pollute our company. Please also dispose appropriately of any waste at the end of your work. An evacuation order may be given if there's an incident such as a fire or gas release. When you hear this siren, don't panic. Secure your work area and follow the instructions of Segal personnel. Then go to the nearest evacuation point, the dock or the infirmary. Never use the elevator. When you arrive at the assembly point, Segal personnel must register your presence. Once this is done, move aside so as not to obstruct registration operations. Always be sure to leave the site access road free so as not to impede the arrival of the emergency services. At the end of the alert, Segal officials will authorize you to return to your workplace or not. For your information, our site is equipped with 2 automatic defibrillators, and our first responders are trained to use them. In case of accident, call 042 737 399 or 399 from a Segal landline. This number is listed on the back of your Segal safety passport. Good advice before starting a job. Note the location of the nearest telephone or register this number on your mobile. Before starting any job, you must ensure that your environment is secure. It's the responsibility of Segal staff to explain the dangers and allow you to work safely. It's your responsibility to properly integrate these hazards and comply with the procedures and countermeasures imposed on you. To ensure your safety, before your work site is officially opened, Segal staff must supply you with certain documents. In all cases, the work permit. If machines are to be used, the yellow security sheet. If you work with hotspots, the fire permit. If you must enter a cavity or a tank, the confined spaces access permit. The work order describes the tasks to be performed, the risks associated with work sites, and countermeasures to be taken. The yellow security sheet is very important. It will be given when all the elements involved in the system on which you'll be working have actually been deactivated and made safe. 2 rules to remember. If this sheet is not in your possession, you cannot work. When this sheet is in your possession, you are safe. Isolated elements cannot be reactivated. However, it's important that you do not forget to hand the sheet in at the end of your work. You wouldn't be the first to have to come back in the evening and return it to us. You'll receive a stop and go card. Before starting your work, answer the questions on the green side of the card. If you answer yes to all questions, you may begin. If even one answer is no, then turn the card over and the red side invites you to contact your site manager. Do not forget the emergency call number. For any incident, discomfort, injury, fire or pollution, 042 737 399.